Hello there and welcome back to the Agostino Zinga Show with your host Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 835, episode number 835 with your host Agostino Zinga, coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location somewhere within the depths of East London. What's going on? What's crack-a-lacking? How you feeling? How you doing? Great, amazing, good to hear, good to hear. I just got back from the gym, did a nice little session in the gym today, feeling good, feeling strong, feeling fine. But funny thing happened today, really funny, well, funny to me anyway at least. There's this one guy in my gym, there's this one dude who usually uses the rings. So there's like a squat rack, there's like a row of racks that also have platforms to do deadlifts and stuff. Like four of them, let's say, no, five of them in a row. But in between each rack, there's also like a bar that connects it. So you could do pull-ups there, you can hang rings there and do dips and stuff, whatever. And he usually does rows, he does dips. He kind of seems like a guy who likes to do calisthenics. I see him sometimes hanging on the bar and kind of, lifting himself up a bit and kind of getting his rotary cuffs nice and loose and shit. He's usually doing some good stuff. I kind of sometimes, keep an eye out on him, little peek to kind of steal some ideas for some stretching or some movement sort of stuff that he does. But I have noticed whenever I've been in the gym and that guy is there on the rings, it seems like he always seems to run into issues with people because he's using the rings. Whether he's using the rings and somebody gets annoyed because they're doing a deadlift on the other side and they feel like he's coming too close, or in this particular case, he went to go put his things on the bar, but he didn't see that there was a guy there already, and the guy there already immediately had an attitude. It seemed like I wasn't listening because I had my headphones on. I'm not really trying to take my headphones off and listen to people arguing in the gym, but I took my headphones off for a brief. No, I left them on obviously, but trying to interpret what they were saying through reading their lips and body language. It seemed like the guy that was already on the rack was getting annoyed that the guy with the rings came there and didn't see him or say excuse me or using this place, that kind of argument. And I wanted to ask the dude that has the rings later when the other guy that was more aggressive kind of walked away, but I also didn't want to get involved. I didn't want the aggressive guy to see me talking to that guy and think I'm trying to get on his back, whatever, ends thing. I just don't want to get involved. But it was interesting to observe from afar, thinking this guy always runs into issues. I wonder if he's aware of it. I wonder if he's aware of for whatever reason he has this thing about him where people get rubbed up the wrong way. They immediately see him doing his things on the rings, doing his dips, doing his exercises, doing his calisthenics, and they just get annoyed. He just has this vibe about him where people just want to fight him because he's too close. It's so funny, man. Honestly, I've seen it so often that I really want to ask this guy, but I also don't want to get involved. So just gotta leave it there. But that was a little fun little dilliance, to kind of be a part of. But I have been enjoying going to the gym quite late, even though it makes me super tired at the end and I can't flip and, stream a podcast as much as I would like to. I do enjoy going quite late at night because I feel like everybody in there is on job. No one's mucking around. No one's wasting time on their phone, hogging the machines. No one's just faffing around. Everyone's there because it's late. They're there to get their workout in, leave, shower and go eat and go sleep. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. So everyone's super militant. So even though it's super late and it's not the best to kind of get more out of the evening, at least I get it done. So I'm happy about that. And I keep the streak going. We're now 4 days in, back-to-back workouts during this locked in November. I'm feeling good, feeling strong, absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. Okay, quickly want to talk about this before I go into some next topics. This is a pretty mad story. And it's just got started on social media. Hopefully you guys don't know about it, so I'm maybe breaking it to some of you people. But if you're kind of locked into African Twitter, I'm sure most of you have already seen this. So this particular gentleman, this young man, this ball of a dude, right? This businessman from Equatorial Guinea is going viral on social media because for some reason, unbeknownst to most people, over 400 of his sex tapes of him, engaging in sexual activities with some consenting adult women got leaked on social media. Yes, you heard that right. This random businessman in Equatorial Guinea, all of his sex tapes with, I don't think, I'm not sure if they're saying he has over 400 sex tapes or if he's on tape fucking over 400 women. Either way, he's putting up fucking numbers. This guy's putting up numbers, and all of his tapes have been leaked online. And for some reason, it seems like all the women involved in the videos that I've seen, because, I do my research and check out the videos, they all seem to be super aware of the camera. They seem to be super game. They seem to be down, consenting. They even seem to be really into him. Like, there's some heavy kissing in a lot of these videos, like passionate shit. Like these women, I think some of them were like legitimately in love with this guy. It wasn't just a smash. So it's all been all over social media, on African Twitter. Everyone's kind of watching it and kind of commenting on it, right? But the really wild thing about this stuff that I've been reading online, the really insane thing, allegedly, some of the women involved are like high profile women in Africa. I'm not too sure if they're high profile women in Equatorial Guinea only, or if it's across the continent of Africa. But either way, these women are linked to like businessmen, politicians, his friends, like big, well-known families. Like, he is smashing everyone. Like, I think there's even a tweet somewhere where it said that some of the women include like, his, his children's godmothers and shit. Like, his friends' wives, security guards that work at the fucking place that he's at, smashing their wives, colleagues. Like, he's everything. Everybody that moves gets it. This guy he's putting up absolute numbers. So let's quickly read this tweet, right? Courtesy of African Facts Zones. A businessman in Equatorial Guinea has been involved in a scandal involving 400 sex tapes. The women tapes include wives of many dignitaries. They had unprotected relations. The Attorney General said they'll be tested to see if he has any STDs. Yo, that's the other thing too. He's going bareback on every single one of these joints. Every video that I've seen so far, and I think I've seen about 20 clips. I've been doing my Googles and shit. I've seen about 20 clips, and from the 20 clips that I've seen not one bit of protection in any of those clips. He's smashing everybody's wives, everybody's girlfriends. There's even a clip where he's with some like, quite heavily pregnant lady. Like, he does not play. And the women seem to be really enjoying it. They seem to be really down. Like, it's a mad situation, man. And the heartbreaking side of this story, it's all funny in games, but the heartbreaking side, allegedly one of the women involved has, unalived herself. That's what people are saying online. There's videos of some lady that looked like she could be dead, and African women screaming around her and shit. And it looks like she might be in a morgue or something. So one woman involved unalived herself because of the video. Like, crazy. And the really sad thing as well about it, allegedly, somebody said, I don't know who this person was that said it, but allegedly the person involved is saying this. This is another update that's really crazy, right? Let me get some of these clips out of the way because it's a little bit too X-rated. But allegedly, somebody here said on social media that, to clarify, they suspected this guy of fraud. Allegedly, they found nothing, right? So this Equatorial Guinea guy was being investigated for fraud. They didn't find anything. But what they did find appears to be consensual sex tapes, and now those tapes have been distributed across the internet. Both him and the women are terrible for cheating on their spouses, but this is revenge porn. This is the classic case of revenge porn. So they're looking for corruption, looking for evidence of corruption. They don't find any, but in the process of trying to look for corruption, they find, lacy drives upon lacy drives full of clips of him smashing other people's wives, girlfriends, or whatever else it may be. Now, the really sad thing about this, I don't know why, but I have a feeling, more than likely, the person that leaked this was probably a woman. That's the really scary bit. Like, imagine being a woman, seeing these clips, knowing how, African people are in general when it comes to adultery and shit, and, how crazy that sort of stuff can damage a woman's reputation in Africa and whatever else it may be, and the destruction it causes for numerous families. Imagine seeing that and then releasing it to the public. That's super irresponsible, because you're putting so many people's lives at risk. Because, I could believe also there's like a player hating guy could see that, he could get pissed off, he sees his girlfriend, his wife, his fiance on that, or his sister, and he's like, fuck that, and he presses the share button. but there's something in me that tells me this is a woman's doing. This is a woman's doing. Like, okay, cool. If I'm getting burned, everyone's getting burned. Let's just light the whole thing up. You know what I mean? As the great saying says, as the great saying goes, what do you call it? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. So I could see that being possible. A woman finding out that, oh shit, okay, I'm not the only one, or this is what my guy was doing, or whatever, blah, blah, boom. And then just spreading it like wildfire, because this is all over African Twitter, because I follow quite a bunch of, I'd say like popular people on like the South African side. They're the ones that I've seen sharing this sort of shit, but it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere on my timeline. I can't escape it, but it's tragic, how it kind of played out. So yeah, another tweet here says 400 sex tapes, including married women, owned in a man's custody. A businessman in Equatorial Guinea has been involved in a scandal. The crazy thing about it too, I think some of the clips that I saw, he's doing the deed in the office too. It looks like he's doing the deed at the workplace. It's in the office itself. Maybe in his own office, but he's like in an office where there's like a screen and it's got loads of cameras. So it looks like whatever facility he's in, government building, he's there looking at the cameras and, from time to time doing the fucking Wakanda forever nipple twist as he's doing the deed. It's fucking crazy, bro. 400, And again, I don't know if it's 400 different women or if it's 400 separate sex tapes. Either way, this guy is putting up fucking numbers. And then, of course, the tragic thing about this story is this. He's also a married man. And it looks like his appetite for smashing is very evident in the amount of kids that he has. Because according to this picture, if this picture's legit and this family is who his family is, with the wife and kids, it looks like he's got like, what? Is that 5 kids there, I see? I think 5 kids, all boys, with this lady. Could you imagine how she's feeling right now? She thinks she's got a doting husband, right? Holding her down with this great government job, right? Providing for the family. Little does she know, he is smashing the entire building that he's in, running through everybody. Everyone's getting it, left, right, and center. But again, my man's popping out 5 kids, and they all look like these kids. Again, bless her, she's a beautiful young lady here on the screen. But these kids, they look like they might be all under. No, I think there's a girl that actually. There's 4. Sorry, there's 5 boys. There's 6 kids actually. It looks like there's 5 boys and 1 girl. All these kids look like they're under the age of 13. So this guy's getting it in. He's getting it in at home. So it's not even like he's one of those guys that's not smashing his wife and then smashing other people on the roads. No, he's getting it in at home. Clearly, no pull-out game, and he's getting it out. He's getting it in the streets, in the government building. He is not playing. This uncle is not playing, bro. So allegedly, here are some of the victims. Some of the victims in the list. The list includes the wife of the director of presidential security, the wife of an attorney general, the daughter of the director of general police, the wives of many ministries, including Minister Oboru, his little brother's wife. No, his uncle's pregnant wife. All the sex parties of Jesus Christ. His wife, mother of his 5 children, collapsed and is still recovering. His little brother's wife. Yo, that has to be some sex addict shit. This is like some sex addict shit. Because I remember Russell Brand saying the same thing in one of his books. I remember that was The Dark Side. I think it was My Bookie Wookie. I think that was his first autobiography, Russell Brand's one, when he was kind of still well liked, and he was really, brutally honest about his sex addiction. And one of the things that he said in the book that was really disgusting is he was so bad at one point of his sex addiction, he would be smashing like random old ladies. Like an old lady would be like, say hi to him at a supermarket, and they'll, exchange, whatever words and have some banter. And then next minute he's like smashing this old lady behind the bins of a supermarket somewhere, like proper old lady. And he's like, yeah, that's like sex addiction. Like it went from just someone wanting a picture and saying hi, and then suddenly you're smashing this OAP behind some bins. Like, yuck. So I could imagine when you're this level, you just want that itch to be scratched. You're willing to do anything. And some things are like, obviously, you should never go down the path of trying to fucking smash your little brother's wife or ex-wife, regardless of what it is. So if he's at that level, he's definitely on that sort of level. Or maybe he's just, he's just a top tier Champions League cocksmith, innit? You never know. But either way, man, this is risky business. Men will fucking start wars off of the back of women. So this is risky business. Like, you could lose your life over this type of shit. This is the type of shit I think when you're younger, I have to admit I was probably the same way. You get some sort of thrill sometimes out of like smashing somebody else's person. It can be a little bit thrilling. It can be a little bit exciting, right? Like, you're doing it, right? You're not doing something you're not meant to be doing, type of thing. But I think the older you get, the more you realize that that sort of shit is lame. Doesn't feel good. You don't really rate the person when it's done as well. You kind of look down on them like, how could you let me? I mean, you kind of despise them for allowing you to do so. And if that person was to find out, they'd be fully justified to fucking, unalive you if they wanted. They'd have every reason to. And some guys will crash out for a woman easily, happily. So you don't want to put yourself in harm's way for nothing. Just allow it. Do you know what I mean? Go for people who are single and, ready to mingle. But smashing people's wives and partners and shit it's just a no-no. It really is a no-no. It kind of just causes way more trouble than the momentary pleasure that you have from that doing the deed. But yeah, man, this Equatorial Guinea businessman he's on a mad one. This is a picture allegedly from The Office, and the arrows show some of the women that he smashed. And according to the arrows that I see there, how many women are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Of the 9 women, he smashed, allegedly according to the arrows, 6 of them. So only 2 resisted his, or 3, 7, 3, only 3 of them resisted his advances. He managed, in this picture alone, he's managed to run through 6 of the 9. What an absolute bad man. Really toxic, really bad, but crazy. Oh my God. Could you imagine what his funeral is going to look like? Because I remember that's one of the legendary stories I remember my parents sharing with us when we were younger about one of our uncles who unfortunately passed away, like young. But then when he was really popular, but then when his funeral happened, his mistress with like a family popped up out of the blue that no one knew about. And it turned into some big scuffle at the funeral. Like, imagine, like aunties rolling around, like fighting while the guy's being laid to rest. Because everyone found out, extended family, everybody found out at the funeral that he had this secret family. I think they were in Belgium or something, right? Standard, like, Angolan, Congolese type of vibes. He had some secret family living in Congo. So could you imagine what this guy's funeral is going to be like? Because for sure, there's no way he hasn't birthed. He doesn't have a couple of secret babies out there. There's no way he doesn't. No way. Especially if you know Africa as well. A lot of women are probably highly religious as well. They don't believe in fucking abortions and shit. So, and maybe they're smashing him because he's got money. Who knows? But for sure, he's got a couple of kids out there too. So could you imagine the amount of kids he must have out there? If he's already, popped out 5 with his wife, could you imagine how many he might have out there in the streets? No wonder the wife collapsed, man. Hopefully she gets well soon and she recovers, but no wonder the wife is in shock. But even that, you'd think you'd know, innit? You probably had a feeling. No way this comes as a surprise that your guy is like doing, you know what I mean? He probably is doing, but then, maybe because he's a high ranking businessman in Equatorial Guinea, maybe that requires you to be in offices for a long time, long hours of the day. So maybe she didn't think much of it, but you have to have known a little bit. You have to have a bit of an inkling that your guy was like stepping out and doing a madness. But look at that. Look at the arrows. Look at all of the ones that he's allegedly smashed. Jesus, man. This guy was running amok. And yeah, the memes are fucking crazy. The Wakanda Forever nipple twist or the Ronaldo celebration. Honestly, man, the guy's a fucking psycho. Hopefully he does a podcast interview soon, so we can find out exactly Wagwan and get to the bottom of it. But knowing with this list of people that he allegedly has smashed, who knows? He might not even make it to that level. Somebody might go crazy and try and take him out because of the shame and shit. Absolutely crazy situation all around with everybody else involved. So thoughts and prayers go out to everybody involved in shit, especially the wife who's recovering from fainting from the shock of what happened. I think just as a kind of cautionary tale for all dudes out there, I don't need to say this, but I think in general, it doesn't need to be said, but it maybe should be said in general. Just leave people in relationships alone for the most part, you know, leave people alone, because number one, you know, it's just the destruction it causes is just not worth the momentary pleasure. It really isn't. And like I said earlier, some guys will crash out over a woman. Some guys will crash out over a woman happily and really go, you know, really go to the end point, to make themselves feel better, or to, you know, enact some sort of revenge, and you wouldn't want that on your conscience. So I think most dudes should just allow it, even though it feels good. It can be exciting, it can be thrilling, it feels naughty, dangerous and shit. It's just not worth the hassle. It really isn't. It really flipping isn't. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nada. I don't know jack shit. Maybe I'm being a fucking loser and I should get involved too. Maybe I'm being a loser and I should get involved too. Who knows? Who bloody knows? Okay, moving on. There's a new interview, actually. There's a new interview courtesy of Stay Grounded TV. Big up Stay Grounded TV. They posted this clip from, I think it's Woody v Pappy podcast. I used to listen to this back in the day. I'm not gonna lie, that was probably one of the first sort of like streetwear adjacent podcasts I used to tune into. But I haven't listened to it in a while. I think because they kept taking long breaks. I think two of the guys got really good jobs. I think one of them was working for Nike. One of them looks like he's doing some stuff for Adidas, I think, or I don't know. But I think they both kind of, you know, started to do bits in the industry, so they stopped doing the podcast. But I really liked it. They used to cover a lot of Kanye shit when he was, you know, not as unhinged as he is now, unfortunately. That was quite good. And just loads of like culture, fashion sort of stuff, similar to what I do here. But I think they kind of did it early, maybe even before me. But they sat down recently and interviewed Tremaine Emory, actually, of Denim Tears. So I want to see or kind of hear what he had to say. So I actually downloaded the clips on my computer. So let me play some of these clips because I'm curious to see what he said. I haven't actually listened to it, so I want to hear what he has to say, and then we can kind of react to it in real time. So let me see what one with this guy. What's this guy Tremaine Emory talking about? Let's play the first clip, courtesy of, again, Woody v Pappy podcast. Let's see what he was saying in this interview.
I'll see sometimes in the comments is like, yo, you're profiting off of black pain. Did anyone ever tell Steven Spielberg he was profiting off of Jewish pain for making Schindler's List? He got paid to do that. There was a budget. Yeah.
I don't like that whataboutism, to be honest. Like, just answer the question. Are you profiting off black pain? Yes. Do you feel like you're allowed to because other people profit off their pain? Yes, but it doesn't justify you profiting off black pain, you know? But I guess that's part of the brand. Profiting off black pain, but also uplifting black people by reminding them of their pain and sort of saying, hey, look how far we've come, look how much work we have to do, look at all the greats that came before us. So I guess that's part of the brand. You kind of have to talk about the pain if you want to uplift, but I don't know. It's part of me just thinks, I don't know what, you know, let's just continue.
Liam Neeson got paid. Yeah. They made money. It was a prop, like all the money didn't go to Holocaust survivors. Mm-hmm. You know, there's the film that came out called Zone of Interest. Yeah. Another great film. Yeah. That was a for-profit film. So do you see Jewish people saying, oh, Steven Spielberg or this director is profiting off of Jewish pain? That's a painful fucking movie, what they're talking about. But it's also enlightening. So why do...
Not that really enlightening. It wasn't really that good. Zone of Interest was very, very overrated. I got kind of bored watching it. I'm not going to lie. It was very overrated. And I don't know. I'm kind of bored. I'm bored of Holocaust survivor movies. I'm bored of Nazi movies. I'm bored of slavery movies. I'm bored of all those movies, honestly, personally for me. You know, maybe at this point, especially if there's so many great storytellers around, there's so many great independent thinkers, so many great creative minds who've been able to build brands, amass some bit of wealth, you owe it to yourself to maybe tell some far more interesting stories, you know, as opposed to just slavery sort of stuff. Like, look at Tyler Perry, you know, insult him for much as you want for the quality of the movies, but at least he tells his type of black stories through movies, you know, like it's not just about slavery. It's mostly kind of stories he kind of, you know, plucks from his community, his family, things that he's overheard, and he kind of puts them on the big screen, you know, puts his money where his mouth is. But it's almost a way of like kind of uplifting, you know, African Americans in that regard, because you're seeing people that look like yourself on the big screen on a constant basis. And, you know, he's got his own studio, whatever else he does. I think that's fucking cool. So I would like to see Tremaine maybe doing more of that sort of stuff. But again, you can't tell somebody how to, run their brand. So if he feels like black pain is a integral part of black history and black future, or African American people, so I was say black people overall, because I think it's really a African American thing, then fair play. I just find it really funny when he speaks like this, and the majority of people that you see on the streets wearing denim tears, especially the cotton reef shit, are just Chinese university students and fucking white kids. That's the really funny bit. Like, don't get me wrong, sick brand. I like the denim tears. I love the fucking pattern. I think what he's done is fucking great, because like Heron Preston, I don't think denim, Tremaine is all that talented fashion wise. I think he's more of an idea, creative communication type of guy. But the fact that he's been able to build denim tears to where it's at the moment is fucking sick. Him and Heron Preston deserve a lot of credit, because I've never, I didn't think they were fashion guys, but they were able to do it in a big way. Cool, kudos. But it is hilarious to hear him speaking like this, right? Speaking, from this point of view, and the majority of people that you see wearing denim tears on the streets, at least in London, maybe in America it's different, but I honestly see way more people that are not black wearing the brand. And, the cotton reef is very heavy. The symbolism behind it, the meaning behind it, it's just hilarious to me. I just find that hilarious. But again, what do I know? Next clip. Let's play this one. What's this one about?
I don't want to go into people's hearts and souls. They're like, how's he black and pro-black, but he's married to a white woman?
That's a valid question. It doesn't need to be answered. You don't need to answer it. You don't need to explain your dating choices, but being this aggressively pro-black and talking about black issues and basically crashing out on Supreme because they wouldn't let you put a very, racially charged and very graphic image of somebody that was whipped on the box logo, which probably would have been quite sick in a way. I think it would have banged, but Supreme, maybe didn't want to do it at that point in time. But being that kind of person, and the cotton reef, everything else included, the music, the books that he recommends and shit, and then marrying a very, 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 very white lady, it's just funny. Don't need to talk about it anymore. It doesn't need to be explained. You can't really explain it, because nothing you're going to say is going to make it sound okay. It's just funny. It just is. It's like AOC, right? She bangs on about white men bad, and look at her fiance. It's just hilarious. It just is. It's not a bad thing. It's just funny. But let's see what he has to say.
And because he do this and he does that, and it's just like, yo, like, this is basic tenets of humanity. Like, what you are is who you define yourself on. And because you read Malcolm X doesn't mean you can't fall in love with a fucking white Irish woman that was there for you at your bedside while you was fighting for your life for 3 months. And she sat there every night with you and slept on a lazy boy when she could have been doing anything else. And
that's sweet and that's amazing. Sure, she's you don't marry somebody because they don't hold you down, but you're still missing the point of why people think it's funny, or why people kind of poke fun at it, or why people look at you a bit sideways for dating somebody else white based on how you talk and how you run your brand. Again, if in my opinion, I think he doesn't need to talk about it. Doesn't need to approach it. Doesn't need to address it. Who you fall in love with, who you decide to marry, who you decide to start a family with is nobody's business. And I personally think, you can be rah-rah black power and still marry who the fuck you want. Who you fall in love with isn't really up to you. You can fall in love with anybody at any point in time, especially someone like himself who's, fairly affluent, is able to travel the world, be in different places. You're going to cross paths with many different people. You know what I mean? You're going to get out of your little bubble. So you're prone to kind of bump into somebody who you probably didn't expect, and then boom, you fall in love. Allegedly, I think he'd met this lady at Supreme. So during his worst time in his career, when he's kind of getting ill and he's not going well at Supreme, he also meets the love of his life. Cool. Congratulations to you. But it doesn't move away from the point that it is quite funny that you are pro-rah-rah black guy talking about black issues, BLM this, but then you married, a super white woman. It just is what it is. It's not a bad thing. It just is what it is.
I'm not going to be like, you know what? I love her, but she don't look like me, so I'm not going there. I just don't give a fuck about making anyone happy other than people that care about me and myself. I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say you don't give a fuck when you're talking about it, but maybe he has to talk about it because people keep mentioning it. But, I don't know. Who cares? Let's move on from that one. Next clip.
So when people start saying I hate black women or like I don't love black women because my wife's not black, then I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna show all the black women I got working for me.
Yeah, go take the boat again.
I'm gonna pay him though. I'm gonna pay him really well.
It's funny though, isn't it? Not a lot of black women stood up for him, and I don't know. I don't know the guy too well, but I'd love to see his. I'd love to, find out, what the ex-girlfriends look like. I bet they, But again, it doesn't matter really. It's just funny how he's trying to defend it. It's just fucking hilarious. It just really is hilarious. It's just something people are laughing at online. It sounds good on Twitter. Oh my God, this guy's saying this, but look who he's married to. It's just funny, it's just funny. And maybe some people won't take him seriously. Like, I don't really see how that makes sense when people are like, oh, you can't be pro-black and then marry outside your race. I think that's a bit weird because, like I said, I think love is just one of those. It's like friends. You don't just have friends that are just, from your own, I don't know. Or maybe some people do. Maybe some people do only try to have friends that are the same race as them. I don't think that's the truth though, but I think friendship, similar to love, you can't, help who you become friends with. You cross paths with somebody who maybe sometimes your greatest friendships are people that are not the same race as you and come from completely different walks of life, but you have this weird kinship and connection. So I can see why that can be the case. But I think, again, him explaining it or trying to rationalize it, it's just making it worse in my opinion. But what do I know?
Mm-hmm. And they're gonna get, they get their clothing allowance, and they get paid well, and they get raises, and they get treated well, and they get seen. I have them they sit and tell, they tell my white wife, yo, when I was at this other company, I won't say the company's name, I wasn't seen there. Tremaine sees me.
They tell my white wife. They tell my white wife. Yo, why does he talk honestly, man? This is why you have to be careful what jobs you go to, because I think that Supreme job, it really broke him, man. I don't think he was like this. Again, I didn't know the guy too well, but I knew of him in London. And I had some friends that were closer to him, and he always came across really chill, really cool. I think that Supreme job really fucking broke him, and he's not been the same since. Or maybe life, maybe Virgil, maybe his own illness, maybe parent stuff, family stuff, who knows? But it's a shame to see him sound like this, man. Like,
all that, because you brought it up, I'll talk about it. I'm just like, cool, I hate black women, I don't, this, that, and the third, because wife is what. Cool. Then I'm not even talking. That's just how I'm on it. Yeah. I think I kind of get that from my mom. Like, my mom would do stuff and just, you wouldn't even know she did it.
Again, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about there, but whatever, man. Ugh. Anyway, next clip. Let's see what else he's saying here.
Someone was banging on my Instagram about, I posted a teaser yesterday about me and Cactus's collab coming out.
By the way, the Cactus Plant Flea Market collab with Denim Tears was decent, but very underwhelming. I wonder why there wasn't much more than what we saw. Maybe the standout pieces or maybe the t-shirt and stuff, but very underwhelming for what it was. I would have actually liked to have seen that do-rag that they made on the t-shirt design actually sold. That would have been quite sick. But yeah, very underwhelming collaboration, unfortunately.
Next week, on Friday, and I posted one of the images of the artwork her and I created, she created and I created, where it's like Africa inside the United States and the United States inside of Africa.
Yeah, I thought that graphic was really strong. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that graphic was really strong. It kind of reminded me of that Supreme hat that I wear from, like, I think the Supreme hat I have is from like fall winter 2015 or something, that's got the continent of Africa and it's got, King of Kings. I thought that was really cool. It's almost similar to a vibe. I love that t-shirt. I'm not gonna lie. That graphic was really smart. Really clever graphic.
Okay. And someone's like, what do you do to help black people? What charity you doing? It's like, guess what? You'll never know. You'll never know. Yeah. Everyone knows I used to do the stuff for Every Mother Counts. I am no longer talking about any charity, anyone I helped put through college, or any of that shit. You guys will never know. Go and just say that I'm a fucking capitalist fucking bastard that every dollar I just spend on myself. Cool. Think that. I'm never telling you niggas.
Yo, that's what
I don't mind this approach. I'm not gonna lie. I just think saying that you're never telling people while you're talking about it just defeats the purpose. So I don't mind the approach. I think that's, to be fair, I kind of prefer him when he's just talking about design and culture and art and stuff and cool guy things. I think when he starts to opine about racial issues, social issues and shit, he kind of, unfortunately, for lack of a better term, again, not to be offensive to the guy, he does sound kind of dumb. in my opinion anyway. You know, his view on stuff is very narrow, and yeah, just considering the way he moves, it kind of, you know, it's a little bit disingenuous and stuff. But again, I know I'm not really the most rah-rah person either, so I don't really know what I'm talking about. But I think this is actually a good approach to go about things. Just keep it to yourself. If you help people in private, you know, and you are doing what you're doing and you feel good about it, then cool. You don't need to justify it to the public. So I'm all for that. I don't mind that in the slightest. Another one here.
By me posting a picture of so-and-so and writing in the caption, and I donated this much money, or I put this person through school, that's me saying, yeah, I'm a witch. And you know what I mean? I'm admitting.
Yeah. What?
I'm admitting, and look, I'm making it right.
And I'm gonna say,
I'd rather just do what I've been doing my whole life.
Yep.
And never fucking tell y'all. And y'all can continue and hang me every day on the internet.
But that's not true though, isn't it? The whole reason why he's famous and the whole reason why he's done well is because, like Virgil, he showed everything online. I think that's something that, you know, a lot of us creatives will probably need to learn off of these guys. They learned all in public. They learned aloud. Like Kanye is probably the master of it, like always showing his research, always showing his work, you know, and that's how they became who they are, right? Always being seen, always being in the cool places, being with the cool people, putting all their ideas out on social media, talking like they already made it, maybe when they haven't, and then people kind of respond to you in that sort of way. So it works really well. So now to suddenly be like, oh, I'm going to be not talking, it's like, bro, your whole brand was talking about things. Now because the response on the internet isn't what you want it to be, isn't what you know, would hope it to be, now all of a sudden I'm not going to say nothing. It's like, I guess, innit? I guess, but, you know, maybe the people that you need your help or you want to help are maybe the ones that are suffering. Because it seems like he's like doing this to appease or to, you know, placate himself from the haters. But it's like you're also then hurting the people that need the help, because maybe they like seeing that stuff that you post about other people that motivates them to continue their studies, to continue pushing, doing what they're doing. I don't know. It just seems a little bit strange, but you know, if it works for him, it works for him. Last one here from Tremaine, then we'll move on.
I seen comments of people making fun of me walking with a cane, like when I got married, and the video kind of went viral. And like, why is he walking like that? And this, that, and the third. So I'm just like, I'm not giving y'all.
Social media is fucking horrible, man. He had an aneurysm, right? He nearly died. He was in hospital for a while. The pictures of him in GQ, like he looked really like on death's door. I think there's pictures of him with his shorts, and you see his legs are super, you know, I forgot what the word is, but I think muscle atrophy. Like his legs look really skinny. You can tell like sickly skinny. He lost a lot of muscle mass from the time he was ill and shit, couldn't move, had to learn how to walk. So it is quite mean that the internet would do that. But again, he should know Wagwan, because he's not well liked on social media because of the fallout with Supreme and how he spoke about certain things and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? It just is what it is, which is a real shame, because there was a time when everyone was rooting for Tremaine. Like even when he got the Supreme job, I felt like there's a lot of like good response to him getting it, but as soon as he got it and he started to like not act like he was happy to have the job, maybe because he wasn't happy to get the job when he finally did get it anyway, people turned on him so quickly, which is a real shame, because, you know, I felt like he was like the second people's champion, but it hasn't really panned out that way, unfortunately. Even though the brand's successful, I feel like his public perception it's been the worst it's ever been, but he doesn't care, allegedly.
My intimate life for y'all just to like come at my neck. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
y'all don't deserve it because you don't care about me.
Nah, that's real.
Y'all kind of care about the art I make. But
why would they care about you? No one should care about anybody on social. They don't know you, bro. You know what I mean? Like, why would random people on the internet care about you? They care about the work you put out, and then when you start putting out work that they don't like or they don't want anymore, and then you start to annoy them, then they get extra toxic. But no one cares about any, like, huh? They don't care about me. They don't, like, of course. Like, what did you? Again, lack of self-awareness is fucking wild. Like, huh? I'm surprised he doesn't know why people don't like him, and just say, you know, I get it, but I don't give a fuck, and then just continue, you know, kind of leading into it. I think he kind of thinks in his head he's the good guy. You know, he's coming at it with pure intentions, and people should know how he's, you know, the what you call it, the goodness of his heart, and giving the benefit of the doubt. But it's the internet, man. People don't know you.
I don't care about me.
Yeah, that's real.
You call me a cynic? Y'all don't care about me.
That's real.
It's not real at all. What he needs around him is real friends. But you know, when you're that clouded up, people around you just are gonna let you say what you want to say, and just be like, yeah, that's real, because you know you're a famous dude. You make good clothes. You make cool clothes. You got connections and shit. Standing next to you, you know, increases their clout. It increases their amount of likes they get on their pictures and shit. So no one's ever gonna be real with this guy anyway. Maybe he doesn't want that either. But you know, it's just a shame, man. Like I said, I knew this guy loosely from London, and he was quite cool. But something happened. I don't know what, and he's turned into the person that he is now. But you know, I'm still here for the clothes. I can always separate the art from the artist, and I like the clothes. I like some of the collabs he does. Like, I still think that one he did with Our Legacy, where he did loads of, like, you know, Tupac Shakur inspired pieces, was really fucking cool. There's still a lot of room for the brand to grow. I still think the fucking Cotton Reef logo design, pattern design is fucking genius. That Marc Jacobs tote bag that just dropped recently was fucking superb. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I still wear the Converses. I got fucking 3 pairs of the Converses. I'm that much of a loser. I've got 3 pairs. I've got 2 highs and 1 low that I wear all the time. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the brand. It's just, you know, it's just unfortunate that, you know, he is the way he is now. But maybe it's the industry. The industry kind of turned him into a cynic, turned him into a little bit of an annoying, hard to like person, hard to root for person, and it kind of is what it is. So big up Tremaine Emory regardless. Hopefully it works out for the guy, but I'm assuming the comment section of this post on Stay Grounded will not be fun or not be fair to him in the morning. Let's see what people are saying already here. Some of the comments already from people on Stay Grounded. It's also actually a good movie. Oh, that's about Zone of Interest. I disagree. We don't feel sorry for you, some person says here. Another person says digging the deeper hole with his response. Another person here says if Spielberg released Schindler's List re-edited every other month and expected you to pay for it, I'm sure the reaction would be the same. The audacity of the comparison is hilarious. That's a funny point. Another person here says he low-key just needs to move forward and be quiet with a little taste. That's actually a good point. But I don't think he wants to do that. He wants to keep talking. So, you know, it is what it is. He's spitting. I can't lie. Nah, this fool ain't ready for the debate. Can't compare movies to clothes. I always thought that argument was dumb because at the end of the day, he's black too. But this response sounds dumb as hell. Someone said in the stream chat, big up the stream chat, big up Koila. Koila said he's not that smart. What, his guy's one big fart. Big up Uche, him not liking me is the worst pain of my life. So even my stream chat aren't the biggest fans of Tremaine. And it seems like the comment section that Stay Grounded aren't the biggest fans of him either. Sellouts refund, refuse, ask people to manager. Bro talks like a muppet. Only sheep-minded people don't like him. Cool. So the opinions are split. We'll see what happens in the morning. But big up Tremaine on that regard. I guess we'll see if it works out for him. I guess we'll see if it works out for the guy. We have to take it one step at a time. But yeah, it's looking kind of mad. It's looking kind of mad. But again, what do I know? Moving on. What do you want to talk about here? Bear with me a second. Oh, this post as well, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Big up Olivia Rodrigo, man. Big up Olivia Rodrigo for giving me a bit of a mental spanking, because I never thought of this before. She made such a great point that's gone kind of viral, but she made such a fucking great point. So Olivia Rodrigo gave this interview question and said the following. This is a very oddly specific question that I ask guys on first dates. I always ask them if they think that they would want to go to space. And if they say yes, I don't date them. I just think if you want to go to space, you're a little too full of yourself. I think it's just weird. And I thought that was really interesting, and a really interesting approach to dating that I'd never heard of before. Like, a red flag is a guy saying they would one day like to go to space. They would one day like to move to Mars. They would one day like to explore the cosmos. And when you think about it, it does make a lot of sense, because it does require a sense of it does require a level of pride, a level of ego, a level of narcissism, a level of delusion that probably a lot of women probably aren't too fond of, and a guy who thinks, for most women anyway, a guy who thinks too much of themselves is usually somebody that you should maybe run away from. But the funny thing about it is that I feel like this is the response that most women should have to their fella saying, hey, I want to go to space. The woman is meant to say no, and you're meant to be the explorer. You're meant to be the adventurer. You're meant to be the hero of your own story, and you're meant to go anyway, come rain or shine. So even if that means when you come back, you know, she's left the house and left a note on the kitchen table, took on the dog with her as well. It is what it is. But she's meant to resist, and you're meant to still go anyway. That's the whole point. And there's been so many great movies based on that entire premise, right? Of the astronaut strapped in as the fucking rocket's about to lift off, tears streaming down his face while he realizes that this is probably gonna be the last time he ever sees his wife again. It just is what it is. But I think for a woman, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It really does fucking make a lot of sense. And it reminds me a lot of like what I do. I think for the most part, I think most likely a lot of adult women out there, if they saw me, they'd think I was a walking red flag, right? Spending hours podcasting and talking to myself into a fucking microphone, DJing, always being on social media and shit. There's a lot about me that's a walking red flag. Like I'm fucking Chernobyl. I am glowing, right? I am toxic. I am nuclear. So I think I would never take it personally if someone said to me, yeah, I can't. You own a focus, right? You know what I mean? You own a webcam. You have a social media presence. You have a YouTube. I can't come near you. I'm sorry. You DJ. You know what I mean? The DJing alone is probably, for the most part, it's probably excommunicated me and ruled me out of possibly, you know, linking up with some baddies across my timeline, across my lifespan, for sure. Just seeing me kind of behind the decks, like, ugh, gross, you know, head banging, nodding, trying to have fun, acting all cool, like I'm the center of the party and shit, like, ugh, who the fuck is this guy? Get him away from me now. Which again, I understand, I get, but I'm meant to do, I'm not meant to listen. I'm meant to still strive ahead. I'm still meant to go ahead. I'm still meant to plug in my headphones into the fucking mixer. I'm meant to tap on that cue button and keep smiling and bobbing my head like it's the first time again. That's what I'm meant to be doing. So if you are an adventurer, if you do want to you know, be a part of the multi-planetary defense of the human race, then I do implore you to, you know, go to astronaut school, whatever it may be, and do it anyway. Even if a little cutie like Olivia Rodrigo says, if you go, I won't be here when you come back. That's what you're meant to do. You know what I mean? Like, imagine how, the funny thing is, girls that say this sort of stuff would also judge you if you don't go. You know, if you don't go, if you don't follow your dreams, and they say that's a red flag and I'm not going to be with you, they also judge you if you stay. So don't do it. You know, if you stay, you're a simp. If you go, you're a fucking toxic, you know, you're a toxic male. Pick your poison. It is what it is. Pick your fucking poison. It is what it is. Moving on. We got some good news for Young Thug. I'm sure some of you've already seen this already. Young Thug has been freed from prison after accepting a guilty plea in the Wild Cell RICO. Fucking crazy, to be honest, especially when you consider how it started. The big arrest, right, outside of his mansion, getting arrested, the mug shot, him and Gunna going down the entirety of YSL, everything that's transpired since, YSL Woody, fucking all this type of shit. For it to come to this point, it's kind of crazy, but if you've been paying attention to the case, you would have known the prosecution was terrible, man. Terrible. They really did a bad job, and there were so many mistakes made that it did seem likely that it would either go down the path of a mistrial, or most likely there'd be a plea. And in this particular case, I think Young Thug's lawyer was really against Young Thug wanting to take a plea, because I think he said he was happy to go to trial. He was very confident that they could have got a much more reduced sentence than what he got now. But I think he said in court that he was having some health complications, and he was also missing his kids, and he just couldn't take it anymore. And one thing we know about Young Thug, if you follow his career, you know that he is quite family orientated. A lot of his family, a lot of his extended family members are part of his label, part of his business and stuff. He looks after a bunch of people. So, you know, that kind of thing was probably hurting him the most, and most likely as well, I could imagine, being in jail for 2+ years, maybe the money was starting to run low. You know, if there was a time to really go for the plea, now is the time, especially whilst the prosecution is fucking up and fumbling again and again and again. So it's a real good news that he's finally now free, and hopefully going forward now, he'll be able to put some of this shit behind him and kind of do what he's meant to be doing, which is creating great music. And I think with Gunner out doing what he's doing now, I think there's a good example there of kind of turning a new leaf and just putting out great music again and getting healthy, because part of the plea deal unfortunately involves quite a bit of stuff quite a lot of stuff that he has to do. He's basically on probation for like 15 years, which is fucking crazy, which in itself is a form of a prison sentence, but I feel like it's a good probation because it's going to force him to be on the straight and narrow, similar to what Gunner's doing now, where he's on this amazing health kick. He's lost a bunch of weight. You know, he's not doing as many drugs as he's doing in the past, and he sounds incredible. Like the album that he dropped when he first came, you know, home, I think should have won a Grammy in my opinion. It was fucking phenomenal. But again, politics of the industry, which is funny too, because I'm curious to see how fake the music industry is. Everybody was on Gunner's ass for allegedly snitching. Now it seems like Young Thug seems to be cool with him because one of his conditions of the plea was that he wanted to continue making music with Gunner, and he was one person that they put down he can still have communications with this person from YSL. So him and Gunner are probably going to be locked into the studio again. So it's going to be funny to see all these people who were distanced themselves from Gunner, ostracized him from the industry, and were acting like, you know, he was the biggest rat since 6ix9ine. It'll be funny now that Young Thug's home, who held these, you know, who stood tall and didn't say nothing really. You know, he didn't snitch on anybody. Everyone snitched on him. He didn't snitch on anybody, but he seems very forgiving about it. I was curious to see how they're going to change their tune, but I think it's a good thing, the probation, even though it's really long, even though the conditions are crazy. As it says here, big up this person called Vaderfly. Here are the conditions of his release. It says it went from 45 years to 25 years to serve, going home today. He's got 5 years of time served, 15 years probation. He'll have 20 years in jail if he goes back. He's got to speak about gun and gang violence to kids 4 times a year. He has to do 100 hours community service. He can work with Gunner again also, as long as Gunner is signed to him. He cannot throw up any hand signs, no more slat. He cannot use any drugs, weed included, and he can't own or be around any guns, and he didn't tell. And I don't think he can be around any felons either. So very strict conditions for 15 years. That's a lot, but I would imagine maybe there's an option down the line where he can kind of change some of that. I don't know, but 15 years, you know, to be without all these type of things that you're kind of used to. And I think he's banned also from Atlanta. I don't think he can go to Atlanta anymore as well. Yeah, that's what it says here. He can't go back to Atlanta for 10 years. After 10 years, he can go back to weddings and funerals. A lot of restrictions, and there won't be a parade on Blevely Lane, but whatever that means. What's that? Blevey Lant. But your freedom is priceless. Thug better fly straight. Yeah, I'm hoping he does. I think he will. I think the amount of time he spent in jail, the amount of things he's missed, like, what's that? I think his sister died, little Key died. I think a baby mother died. Who else? A bunch of people have passed away while she's been in jail, man. It's been fucking kind of crazy. So I think he's probably going to try and make up for lost time and go on the straight and narrow, I'd imagine, and be healthy, because he's lost also a bunch of weight too. He got really big during the trial, because he was eating a bunch of, you know, you'd imagine just snacks and processed food, but he's lost a ton of weight since. So I think he's probably going to be on the same health kick that Gunner's been on, and try and be as, you know, straight up as possible with that sort of stuff. There's actually a statement here I want to play when he speaks to the judge, actually, which I think was quite heartwarming. This is the final statement of Young Thug in the court, and it's funny to see the security guards looking at him and just smiling. You forget how much of a star he is, right? And this court case is taking place in Atlanta, so you can imagine everybody there is glued to the court case, is watching every bit of it, and they're all still fucking shocked, like, oh shit, they're kind of starstruck still, because this is fucking Young Thug. So this is his final statement in court prior to his sentencing.
I take full responsibility for, you know, my crimes or my charges. I want to say sorry to my family, my mom. My mom got 11 kids. I can't say all their names, you know. My managers, my kids that's not here. Really everybody that got something to do with this situation, I want to say sorry for just, like, you know, having so much time invested into this, you know. And I am a smart guy. I am a good guy, and I really got a good heart, you know. I find myself in a lot of stuff because I was just nice or cool, you know, and I understand that you can't be that way when you reach a certain height, because it could end bad, and it don't really have to have nothing to do with you, but it could end bad, and it could, you know, fall on you. And I know the choice is yours. It's up to you. And I hope that you allow me to go home today and just trust in me to just do the right thing and never see you again unless it's at a bar in the future or something. Just out of this type of situation, I promise you I won't ever be in this type of situation again. I'm going away. I've learned from my mistakes. I come from nothing and I've made something and I didn't take full advantage of it. I'm sorry. Through these last 2.5 years of my life, you are really, truly, honestly, the best thing that has happened to me because you made everything fair for me and everybody involved on both sides. I'm sorry to the sheriff, everybody for just having to put extra time in. I know y'all got paid more money, but I'm sorry for y'all having to put this extra time in to be away from y'all family, and I just hope that
he's so charismatic, man. He's a legend. Look at this smiling. They fucking love him.
Go home and be with my family and just do better as a person. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I am. I know the heights I've reached. I know the impact I got on people, period, in the community, all people. I learned that late, like these past 2 or 3 years of my life, I kind of learned that late, and maybe it was because I was, probably on drugs or anything, I don't know, but I have came to my senses and I understand what I mean to this world, but I am a good guy, I don't mind doing stuff like, free shows, and I always did that. I did free shows and gave it to single parents, millions of dollars. I made $1.8 million on a free show, and I gave it all to single parent charity. And I did like 2 or 3 shows that made like $700,000 a piece, and I gave it to the breast cancer organization. I do things like I put millions of dollars back into my community for real. I really did. I did more than anybody ever did from my side. But I understand, rap lyrics. I understand how it could be twisted. I understand what it could do to the mind of people. I understand all that, and I promise you I'm 100% changing that. It's just, I'm older, I'm grown now, and it's just like, I'm smarter. It's more things to rap about. Like, I've experienced a lot of good things. I experienced more bad things, but I experienced a lot of good things too. And anyway, I can go forever.
Well,
honestly, man, like big up Young Thug. I think he's gonna be in the straight and narrow. I think the fact that he'll face so much time if he breaks the rules and shit, and goes against his probation is gonna be heavy weight in his mind. But I do think it's probably been a blessing that the RICO happened the way it happened, and everybody folded the way they folded, because he seemed like a person that did put a lot of people on. I'm sure the Gunner snitching thing probably broke his heart as well. And seeing so many people come up and basically turn their backs on him and tell, probably was an eye-opener. I've changed all these motherfuckers' lives. I've given them money. I put them on, signed them and shit, put my money in their pockets. And they were so quick to get on the stand and basically pointing the finger at me and shit. So I think that's probably the realization he's probably got. Okay, cool. Let's just make it a music thing. Forget the street stuff. But I think for fans like myself, I can't lie, there's always been rumors about him being the guy. It's just gonna make the music sound even more incredible. It's toxic to say this, unfortunately, but that's a matter of fact. Now that you know that he's really about that life, and the whole time that he was being the way he was in the beginning, with the dresses, with the funny voices, with the fucking antics online, he was really stepping. He was really he was really, as they say in LA, whooping feet. He was really out here. So unfortunately, even though there's probably a lot of innocent victims, connected to this, for people like myself that just care about the music, it's gonna probably be some of the best music we ever hear from him. Clear, drug-free, Young Thug. The way he's gonna be spitting, the diction, the breath control is gonna be out of this world. The contents of it's gonna be really heavy. It's gonna be really poignant. So I'm really curious to see how it develops and how it goes from now on. But I think he's going to be in the straight and narrow. I really do think he's going to be in the straight and narrow. But I do love some of the memes. I love some of the memes. Look at this meme here, courtesy of somebody on Twitter. They said Young Thug for the next 80 years.
I'm a sober guy. I don't get high.
If you take drugs, then you might die. Let's go! Come on! Bounce!
Pick up Zach Fox. Pick up Allen Elementary.
If you smoking tree, don't come next to me, cause I'm high off life. Don't take no LSD. I'm a sober guy. I don't get high.
I can't wait to hear that Young Fun material. Honestly, man, I can't wait. I really can't wait for that sort of material from the old Fuggy. Moving on. Let's talk about this clip. Let's talk about this post courtesy of Techno subreddit. Again, the best subreddit on Reddit, maybe second only to the Berghain community subreddit, and then second only to the TFATK, the Fighter and the Kids subreddit. I fucking love this subreddit. Always very interesting conversations around techno in the scene. Now, this is very close to my heart because I've had many a things. I've said many a things over the years about Fabric, about E1. I think they're two of our worst and best clubs in London. Fabric specifically because it's an institution, but over the years I've been to Fabric many times, many times over my fucking clubbing, life and whatever it may be. And I can honestly say the amount of times I've had good times in Fabric, I can count them on one hand. It's always shit for the most part, and it's a really shame because Fabric as a club is amazing. The rooms are fucking sick, especially room 2, how they fucking refurbed that. It's fucking amazing. The room at the top, which you go up some stairs, I think that's room 3. That's really great. I think I saw Cormac once there doing a disco set. What might be one of the best sets that I've ever witnessed in that particular room. The vibe is fucking immaculate. But unfortunately, the people that go there, the mix of crowds from like university students to finance guys to the people from the queer scene to roadman to lads, it's just too much. The overabundance of security, there's just like, it feels like there's like hundreds of security guards working any particular night, flashing their lights on the dance floor, literally like choke slamming you to the ground if they see you putting your hand in your pocket for too long or looking like you're taking a bump somewhere, pushing the doors open in the toilet. It's just complete vibe killer. Excessive searching before you come in, pictures, emptying every fucking pocket, sticking their fingers in your armpit, in your asshole. It's just horrible. But to give Fabric credit, over the years they've been really good with changing their booking and their programming and sort of like welcoming in a new crowd. They're not just about minimal, it's not just about Ricardo Villalobos and Seth Troxa and them, man. They're trying to change the people that come there by maybe inviting different promoters, giving other people chances who probably wouldn't put parties on Fabric to try and kind of mix up their crowds. But unfortunately it doesn't work. Because if you have like let's say if you have like a queer LGBTQ based sort of crowd and party promotion and you put them in Fabric, yes, they're going to kill it, but the mix of people that go there is just it's not going to provide a conducive scene or conducive environment. And it's going to produce what people love to say, not a safe space. And this is a good example of it. Somebody posted this on the Techno subreddit. So, dear Fabric creeps, yesterday night, the 2nd of November 2024, I witnessed the most predatory forms of harassment than ever have one in single night, 9 to be precise. I know this club's crowd is very hit and miss depending on the day or the lineup, and yesterday was Halloween weekend, so it opened up the possibility to come across a bunch of drunk clubbers just looking to get fucked up, but the lineup was something we were looking forward to. Again, in this particular case, I really hate to defend Fabric, but it's your own fault. Why would you go to Fabric on Halloween? That's like going out clubbing on New Year's Eve and thinking you're going to have a good time. Avoid Halloween, avoid New Year's Eve. These times there's just too many, weekend warriors, people who don't usually go out. It's just full of too many, randoms. It's the worst time to go out. So you kind of did it yourself. You have yourself to blame. Even though it's not, not trying to victim blame or victim shame, whatever. You did do it yourself. Going out at Halloween, especially to Fabric, is a no-no, I would say. But again, what do I know? I hate that this club is a great space for atmospheric lighting, design, a very decent sound system and a really good lineups, but someone in our group is always either groped or made uncomfortable verbally. Most of the times we can't ever relax in the crowd. We have to be extra careful with people and it sucks all the fun away. That's what happens when you're a baddie, innit? When you're a baddie, people want to get near you. No, I'm joking, but it must, again, Fabric is just one of those places that kind of reminds you of just how special clubs like Fold, clubs like Venue MOT, Color Factory, even the Yard are. That's why I think it should exist, because when people like myself get a little bit pissed, a little bit bored, a little bit
fed up and fatigued of felt or fold. I've been there so many times. I've spoken about it too much. I'm always on my fucking knees, sucking the club off. But the reality is, when you go to other clubs, you start to appreciate the ones that we do have that are decent. Like, it really does remind you of it, because the like Fabric is like a reflection of most clubs in London. If you go there, like, you know, with a group of people, and you know, you're dressed in a certain way, you're from a particular scene, you have a particular aesthetic, you're gonna attract a very different type of energy than you would if you were in a space that is for people like yourself. You know, it just is what it is. Unfortunately, it's one of the, you kind of run that risk when you go there. We also noticed 3 separate instances of people being rude to staff, which should be more than enough reason to immediately kick them out. Imagine what those losers are like to other people if they're treating staff like shit. Yeah, that happens all the time. I think, to be fair, that's why I've noticed whenever I've gone to Fabric, I feel like the staff have been kind of rude and short with you. But it makes sense. They have to be like that, because most of the people they interact with are cunts. So they're kind of on the defensive, you know? They're not really in a good mood. They're not really in a good vibe. So everything, like, from the moment you go there, from the queue, from the search, it's a vibe killer. You have to go and put your jacket up in some upstairs place, then go downstairs. It's almost like you're getting carted off to prison, and then you go down the basement. You go down many stairs to go down in the main room, and then people are coming up from the stairs, falling over. Someone's crossing over your path, stepping on you. It's like all just weird, like, energy. Like, you go that 11 p.m. you see people that look like they've been out since Thursday, or someone just getting up now. It's just like so many different vibes and energies. It's all over the place, to be fair. Anyway, if you're one of those people and you're reading this, you'll forever continue to be a low life who goes to clubs to make people uncomfortable. If you don't reconsider yourself and keep straying further away from meaningful relationships, if you're reading this, I hate you and wish you the worst disease possible. I love this club, hence why I felt like having a little rant, since I tended to frequent it quite a lot. One of my most memorable nights was when I went to see Karen a year ago. The music was incredibly emotional and the sound system was really good. Great crowd, friendly people, not one single unpleasant encounter of this kind. Again, that's a rare. Look at this person said they've been there many times, and the best time they went was a year ago. That's just proof that it's mostly shit. So in my opinion, like, I've ranted about Fabric, I've ranted about E1 too often, and what I did, which I think most people should do, vote with your feet. Just stop going. If somewhere's terrible, vote with your feet, because unfortunately, as I always say, I think there's evil is meant to exist, horrible people are meant to exist, creeps are meant to exist, but it's up to us to kind of call it out, right? I don't think you can ever rid yourself of like creeps and weirdos. If there's good people, there's always going to be the opposite. But I think it's the responsibility of the clubs to filter out those people. It's not up to you. You can't really do much. You can't stop people being creeps, but it's up to the responsibility of the club to make sure creeps don't come in. But unfortunately, Fabric is also just a regular nightclub, and it's in a part of London where, you know, they probably can't avoid those type of people, and they just want to make a business. They kind of want to keep the lights on, so they just let anybody in for the most part. As long as you got ID, you can get in. I've seen people that should not be anywhere near that club because they're clearly too high and too drunk. I was once there, actually. That was the last time I kind of went, I think, to go see Ricardo Villalobos, and some guy literally collapsed because he was high off ket too much. The girlfriend who I was dancing next to was screaming, like literally screaming, and you know, the people came over and shit, and they woke him up and stuff, and he was okay after a while, but they let him stay in the club. He didn't even get, you know, escorted out or whatever, or told to go home. He was still in there. Like, why is this guy still, he literally just collapsed a minute ago? Like, there's been, again, not to put any smut on Fabric's name, but there's been a ton of people who died there recently. Like, it's not the best place to go in club, unfortunately. They've got great lineups. Legendary people have passed through there. It's, you know, the history of Fabric will forever be cemented in London, but I don't think, you know, you should be surprised when you go to a club like that and it's shit, because, you know, it's generally shit. Another person said here, I went to Fabric recently. I've never been before. While I don't go out a lot, I've experienced a fair few of London venues: Corsica, Ministry, Phonics, Night Tales, Fold, Printworks, and when it's open, a handful of others. My friend warned me about the crowds at Fabric, but I honestly thought, how bad could it be? Considering I've been to Ministry a few times, the crowds there are 4 out of 10 at the best of time. But Ministry is quite decent. Ministry is quite decent. My God, was I wrong? Hands down, was the worst crowd I've ever experienced by a long shot. You know, when you're in a crowd and packed in like sardines, but everyone is dancing and you're all kind of conscious not to take up too much space, so you're bumping backs and shoulders and elbows, but overall everyone's being respectful. Yeah, well, this is like having 5 hands on you at any point. Yeah, especially room 1. The main room is legendary for that. Like, that's part of the reason why it's also quite good, because literally everybody's on you. Like, everybody's on you. I can imagine what it must be like if you're a girl. Luckily, I'm a dude, and you know, I look the way that I look, so no one's gonna be feeling up on my buttocks or on my chest anytime soon. But I imagine if you're a buxom woman or if you're a petite woman, you probably, you know, the amount of foreign hands and foreign bodies that are rubbing on your body, it's mind blowing, because everyone's like, you know, on top of everybody. Someone's bending over trying to get a key bump in. Like, it's a lot to take in. People are constantly moving in and out, pretty much shoving their way to wherever they wanted to go. So many men who looked like they had no clue why they were there, just staring daggers into the person in front of them and not chance. Yeah, that's one thing that's really funny about Fold. If you start dancing enthusiastically, you get a ton of people like pointing and looking at you like, oh, look at that guy dancing, look at that guy having fun. Someone might high five you. It's like, bro, it's a nightclub. What am I meant to do? Like, they look at you like you're a fucking freak for dancing, like literally for having a good time. Because I'll find like a little corner, usually sometimes around the back of the DJ booth. There's a little area there where I'll probably stand, or I'll stand like to the right of the DJ booth. If you're looking at the DJ booth itself, that's quite a little spot, and people will literally look at you like you're a circus animal. Like, he's dancing in a nightclub, he's dancing, look at him go. Like, it's so bizarre. Honestly, I've never. It's such a weird feeling, because they were like high five you. It's like, hold on, like, it's just kind of patronizing. Why are you high fiving me because I'm dancing in a nightclub? Why aren't you dancing? Why are you even looking at me? Like, mind your business. Generally, the biggest challenge of the night was trying to find small pockets of alright people to dance with. Exactly. This was to see Rod had and Ignaz mostly, and to me, if those acts attract that sort of crowd, I really don't want to know what more mainstream nights are like. That's the thing. It's a mainstream club. It doesn't matter who plays. The same crowds are there. The Ricardo Villalobos event I went to was probably quite bad. You know, I was lucky because I was allowed to go to the green room, so I kind of escaped some of the nonsense. But again, the green room also had a lot of wankers in it as well. You know, standard kind of dance industry music people who are trying to like suck up to people. I just wanted to sit in there and, you know, and take my multivitamins. But yeah, it's a mad place. It's a mad place, man. The club is too popular in a central location. Exactly. That's a good point. The club is too popular in a central location. It is what it is. Last post here. Every time I go to Fabric, someone in my group gets harassed, assaulted. It's horrible. We stopped going. Sucks because their sound system is banging and they schedule good artist slots. And the club is, but the crowd is abhorrent. They should implement a door policy. Never gonna happen. Most clubs in London, the door policy thing is a luxury. You can't do that in London. The opening times are disgustingly bad. Obviously, Fabric is a bit lucky because they can open until 7, I think, or 8. But you just can't get away with that. No one's gonna have it. People will protest. The club might get shut down. Like, imagine if they turned away some kid who's like the son or the daughter of some diplomat or some MP. They could easily get that club shut down. Like, that's the problem, because it's so central. I think this London School of Economics is near as well, their campus. So a lot of like well-to-do posh kids go there. One time I was there was a mad, very boisterous crew of like, I think Indian students that were there that were going fucking nuts. The boys could not handle their booze at all. You know, the vibe killing in the bathroom stalls when you're in there trying to do your business is annoying. There's no locks on the doors. They keep pushing them open. There's just mad security guards everywhere. Like, there's so much different energies around you. People trying to fuck, people trying to score, people trying to just, I don't know, pickpocket. I don't know. It's just too much, man. It's too much. One of the worst clubs in the world. So people that go there and don't have a good time, it's your fault for going there in the first place. Anyways. Let's go on to some trainer news. John Geiger 004 red and blacks and whites. Again, John Geiger does it again. Big fan of the shoes. I keep saying this all the time. I feel like I'm sucking off the shoes way too much, but again, for given how predictable and boring and retro based most of the sneaker industry is at the moment, it's nice to see such a new shape, such a new silhouette take the scene by storm. Everybody's fucking freaking out over them. Legitimately, my 004s might be the only shoes that I wear day to day that I get looks and compliments from regular people. And I've said this plenty of times on the pod. I think getting compliments from like regular schmegular people about your sneakers is a far bigger, better compliment than getting compliments from like our fellow sneakerheads who just, you know, wank over anything limited and with funky colors. When a regular guy or woman comes up and says, hey, I love your fucking shoes, that really makes me happy. And I think I've got more compliments of the 004s than any other shoes I've got. So that for me is the reason why it's sneaker of the year. And there's another really great colorway. There's a red cage, really bright red cage, and it's got this really nice, almost, I would say it's like tie-dye faded dual color mesh thing on top with red, blacks and blues on it as well. I would say, as much as I love the red, I would want to have a little bit of a flip on the sole color. I'm sure there's a reason why he's not doing it, but I want a bit of a change on the sole color. I think the sole color needs to be flipped, maybe a white, maybe a red to kind of match the upper. I think there's too many of the 004s with the black outsole, but I'm sure production wise there's probably a reason why he's only doing them in black, or maybe he just likes them in black in general. But this colorway is fucking beautiful in the red. Really fucking love them. They're due to be coming out, I think, I'm assuming maybe in November. Probably another pair as well that are going to sell out super quickly. And look at the video. They're actually 3M, or no, glow in the dark. There's a glow in the dark layer, so the mesh on the upper glows in the dark, so they look like they're blue and white and red and shit, like a French colorways, but when you actually turn the lights off, they glow in the dark. They're all green. Fucking sick. Super hard. Amazing shoes. I'm assuming they're probably going to come out in November probably, but I would say keep an eye out on John Geiger's social media. He's always posting about these, but when they do drop, don't wait, don't fucking delay, because these will sell out super quickly. Yeah, big up Eduardo Madera. Exactly. Yeah, they match my fucking background, don't they? Yeah, exactly. You should fucking send me a pair of them, motherfucker. But I might actually try and buy them when they do drop. If they drop around payday, I'll try and buy them myself. But they're super hard to get a hold of because everyone wants them. They sell out so quickly. And you know, I'm never usually up, or I'm usually at work when they drop them at American time. So let's see what happens. But 004s in red. Absolutely banging colorway, red, black and white. Hopefully they drop soon so we can see them. Okie dokie, my friends. That's it for now. Short pod, because I'm gonna do a quick little, can I do, it's got time for, yeah, I've got time for a little random show. So I'm gonna do a bit of an hour of a random show next. So those of you waiting for a random show, that'll be happening in about 5 to 10 minutes. But I'm going to end it right there. Before I end the show, I want to let you know about the album that I've been listening to recently and give you a little bit of a sneak peek on my tune of the day. Tune of the day for me is going to be from LSDXOXO, from the album Dogma that released a few months ago, or a couple months ago. The track I'm going to be playing as my song of the day is Witching Hour, track number 7 on the album. Amazing album. I'm not gonna lie, I was pleasantly surprised. Oddly enough, which is really weird to say, I think LSDXO might be a better artist than he is a DJ. Even though I enjoy his sets, I think he's got way more of a higher ceiling as an artist than he has as a DJ. I think so. Like, he can really go places. Like, this album is fucking hard. I don't know, like, I'd almost like to describe it as like electronic, or like, you know, electronic, like R&B, or like, you know, dance, like kind of like what Rochelle Jordan does, that sort of vibe. But it's way more menacing, way more sinister, but the lyrics are kind of playful and cute and shit. And it's just a vibe. It's a bop, and the sequencing, and you know, I'm a big stickler on sequencing. I'm a big stickler on run times, and I feel like 11 songs, 30 minutes, perfectly sequenced. It's really a great album. I played it twice whilst I was in the gym today, and I fucking loved it all the way through. But I really do love the sequencing. I think the sequencing from track 5 to track 7, the way that Rochelle Jordan and SDXO's vocals sort of like blend into each other at the end of Blinded track 6, and kind of fade out, and then bang, Witching Hour comes in, which is a fucking hard track. Really got me going in the gym. I swear to God, it really got, especially when I was doing my sprints on the treadmill. So I recommend you check it out. An amazing fucking album. Again, another album that I'm going to put on my album of the year list. I need to go through all the ones I recommended and make a fucking video about them anyway, because I've got so many albums on my album of the year list. But I swear to God, LSDXO is fucking killer. It's really weird because even though I think, you know, maybe he's fallen out with Berghain, I'm not really too sure. I'm not seeing him on the lineup anytime soon after the rant he had about Berghain people and shit or whatever. The really unfortunate thing is, after listening to his album, I really want to see him perform this live, and I would love nothing more than to see him perform this entire album on that Berghain sound system, or maybe a similar crowd or similar sort of club. So maybe I might have to keep an eye on RA to see where he next plays, because I want to see him perform this album. if maybe he plays in fucking Primavera next year when I go, that would be fucking sick. But in general, I would love to see him perform this album, because I think some of these tracks deserve to be listened to on a really big sound system somewhere. Maybe not a festival, maybe more so a club and shit. Or maybe he might actually go to Hull, because I'm planning to go to Hull Festival next year. Maybe he might be there, who knows. But either way, an amazing album. LSDXO, Dogma. My song of the day is Witching Hour. Fucking incredible. So if you listen to the audio side of the podcast, you'll hear it playing. Unfortunately for my video watchers, you won't, because I want to get copyright struck. But thank you really for watching. Make sure you leave me a 5-star review on the podcast apps and shit. Like the video down below if you can. Timestamps will be added later. And I really do thank you for tuning into the show. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Random show in about 5 to 10 minutes. Take care, people. Peace.